In this video, I'm going to show you how you can save thousands of dollars each year by automating all of your manual reporting. Now, the way I wanted to start was by showing you a real world example of what we found with one of our clients. Now, this client had assigned their sales manager the task of producing a daily sales report. Now, this sales report was essentially just showing their previous day's revenue, the top customers, and the top selling products. Now, what did that actually mean from a time perspective for that sales manager? Well, it meant that they had to spend the first 30 minutes of each day pulling all of the sales data out of Odoo manually. So they'd export the table, they would then put it into an Excel sheet. They would then spend the next 30 minutes populating their sales report template in Excel. Then they would spend another 30 minutes formatting it. So exporting it as a PDF or screenshotting it and then drafting the email, adding the recipients to the email, and then sending it off. So if we take that 1.5 hours that they were spending per day and we multiply it by 5 days a week times by 48 weeks in a year, that equates to 360 hours per year spent on one report. Then if we times that by their hourly rate of $60 per hour, that's $21,600 per year that report is costing the business in time spent. Then, if we multiply that by 3 to 4 reports, some businesses can have up to 10 reports circulating at a given time. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars that manual reporting is costing your business per year. So my goal with this video is to show you how you can automate that whole process, eliminate the cost entirely using Power BI. I'll run through some real world examples, some different reports that I have automated in the past, and yeah, hopefully you can solve this problem once and for good. Okay, in example 1, I'm going to show you how you automate a pretty stock standard sales report. So to run through the report really quick, we've got our sales by industry, we've got the month-to-date sales, the prior year, the month-on-month comparison, we've got that same data for quarter-to-date, and then also year-to-date. Then we've broken it down by product category, and then this first screen gives us the ability to filter for a specific month or quarter or year. So at the moment, we've got March selected. So for the month to date, obviously it's showing us March, the prior year showing us March 2024. Then we've got the difference. Then the quarter to date, that's going to be Jan, Feb, and March. And then it's comparing it to Jan, Feb, and March in the prior year. Same for year to date. You get the gist. Okay, so that's all well and good, but how do we go about automating it? So if I go back to my workspace, to give you a quick overview of how Power BI works, essentially you build your reports and dashboards in Power BI Desktop. So that's a desktop application. Once you've created them, you then publish to Power BI Service into a workspace. So you can see that I have a workspace here called YouTube. Now, once you've published it, you'll have both a report and then a data set. So a report's you're going to know it's a report by this little icon, and a data set's going to be this little icon here. Next up, what we're interested in doing is we want to be able to automatically refresh our data. That way, we've just automated the process of, say, our sales manager having to go in and export the data out of your ERP. We want to automate that whole process. So I want you to think about this down here, this data set being that table that he or she is manually exporting from. So all we're doing by scheduling a refresh is we're saying, okay, we've got our data for yesterday and that's completely up to date, but now it's a new day and we want to pull in all of the data from today. So we want to see today's sales. Now that's what we'll do by setting up a scheduled refresh. So I go in, I click scheduled refresh, I go down to refresh. I then pick our time zone. So for this example, we live in Darwin, and I'm going to pick all of the times that I want our data to refresh. So because it's a daily sales report, I want to refresh it at 5 a.m. That way it's going to pull in all of the sales from the previous day. Then I want to refresh it at 12 p.m. That way I can get an idea of how many sales we've generated for the day up until lunch. And then finally, I'll do another one at 6 p.m. so that I can see at the end of the day how we're tracking for sales. Go in, I'd hit apply here, and then we're all done. So that's going to manually refresh our report. Our report's going to be populated with current data, and we haven't had to do any sort of manual exporting at all. Okay, so next, I'll run through, actually, I'll quickly go over how you would go about manually refreshing the report. So say if you wanted to just go in and see it up to date now, you could go in, hit this little arrow, click refresh. This little icon here will spin around for about 10 seconds. Then once it's done, it will tell you the time that it was completed, and then you can go in and your data is completely up to date. Now that's up to date, I'm going to show you how you create an email subscription to share the report with your team. So this email subscription is going to send out an email every day. It's going to have a PDF copy of the report and then also a screenshot of the report for our team to see as well. And then it will give them a link to actually go view the report in Power BI service. So what we do is we go into the report. You'll see a button up the top here that says subscribe. Once you click on that, you'll see all of your active subscriptions. You'll notice I've already created one, but I'll show you how you'd go about creating one yourself. Click on add subscription, click standard, then give the subscription a name. So sales subscription. Then we put in all of our recipients. So I'll just leave my name in there. Then we go attach full report. So we can either attach it as a PDF or a PowerPoint. So I'll click PDF. I want to send it to their email. We could also set it up to save an attachment in a SharePoint folder or a OneDrive folder. So that's also an option. But for this example, we're just going to email it. Then we're going to say when we want our subscription to start. So we want it to start today. And then we want it to repeat every day. So if we wanted to, we could get it to send as soon as we've refreshed our data, or we could send it hourly, weekly, or monthly. Once again, for this example, I'm going to send it daily. Then we pick our time zone. So for the sake of our example, we'll pick Darwin again, and then we will hit save. Now I'll quickly jump over to my email and I'll show you what our team will get once they receive our subscription. Okay, so here is the automated email that we've got for our subscription. You'll see we've got the title up here, subscription for sales report by product category. We've then got a screenshot of the page that we set up. And then we've also got a link here, which if we clicked on that, it would take us to the report in Power BI service. Finally, we have the PDF attachment of the report. So if I was to open that, you notice that we get the first page so we can see which dates are selected. Then we've got the next page, and then we've got that final page for the sales by product category. So yeah, that gives you an idea of exactly how we'd go about sharing it. I'll quickly run through another use case for a sales report that's actually specific to a user. So this is one that we're going to make dynamic. So it's going to filter the data specific for one person rather than a whole team. You'll see now we've got a different report, and it's got entirely different formatting. So you'll notice it's in an A4 page rather than being landscape. And the idea of this is that it's going to show a sales rep how they're performing individually rather than as a team. So we set up what's called row level security. Now, row level security is a fancy term for if I go into my sales report, I'm only going to see the data that's relevant to me, and I'm not going to see anyone else's. So let's say if another person entered this report, we'll call them John as well, but John Smith. So John Smith enters the report. He's only going to see his individual sales, and he's not going to see John made up names sales. So what we do with this is we combine the row level security with the subscription that we talked about before. That way we can send out individual reports to each of our sales reps and give them an idea of how they're performing. And that way, if they don't even want to go into Power BI service and dig into the data, they can just go on their email, look at their report, see how they're tracking versus budget, see their GP percentage, how many activities they're logging in our ERP system, and all that sort of stuff without actually having to do any sort of work at all. So here is what John will see once he receives his email subscription. He'll get a link to view the report in Power BI service. He'll get a screenshot of the report. So honestly, he doesn't even need the PDF in this example. He has all of his information right here, but I'll just show you what it looks like anyway. Just a basic report. You can go in, you could print it out, you could show it to your sales manager. Also, as a sales manager, you could get it sent to you. So you could get each individual sales rep's reports sent to you each week. And that way you could print it out. Once you have your next meeting with them, you can take them through it, show them how they're performing. That's if you don't want to actually share it with them individually. Now that pretty much wraps up the video. The only thing I didn't cover was how you actually connect your data from your ERP system to Power BI to build the reports. Now I have actually gone over that in a previous video, so I'll leave a link in the description to that. I just take you through the different ways of connecting. That way you can go in, you can build the reports, automate all of the manual reporting, save yourself thousands of hours each year. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. If you want me to clarify anything, just leave your comment down in the comments below and I will get back to you. But yeah, if you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And I will see you in the next one.